Hi, I'm Joshua Weissman. I am in the Food 52 studio and I'm making your next holiday cookie. These are the cookies from my new cookbook, Texture Over Taste, the baseball cookies. It has absolutely nothing to do with baseball except they are the size of a baseball. So if you get hit in the head with these, you'll either get knocked out or very hungry. When you think of a good chocolate chip cookie, everybody has their little opinion.
Oh, it's gotta be like this, it's gotta be like that.
It's gotta be
like this.
You got a mix of dark chocolate, milk chocolate. It's the best of both worlds. A little bit of richness, but a little bit of childhood sweetness, right? It's chewy, it's fudgy, it's rich, it's gooey. Let's get into it. First things first, dry ingredients go into a bowl. We're gonna have a little bit of all-purpose flour and cake flour. We combo them because they have different protein percentages, which essentially is gonna get you a slightly different texture. You could go all in on all-purpose, that's fine. But I do a mix specifically to get a little bit of chew, but a little bit of softness at the same time. Then we go in with our cornstarch. That just helps seize this together. This has a lot of liquid in it. A lot of cookies don't have this much. And so the cornstarch just helps contract the dough a bit. A little bit of baking soda. I mean, hopefully you don't need me to explain this to you at this point, right? If you're watching this, I think, go on. And of course, fine sea salt. You could top this with flaky salt afterwards if you wanted to, it's fine, it's fine. So we're gonna whisk this together until thoroughly combined. Whenever I'm whisking flour, a lot of the time I see people whisking like this. You're never gonna incorporate the ingredients like that. You're just not. Give it a little shake. Give it a little shake while you're whisking, and now you can see the flour is like almost like an ocean. Going to chop our chocolate. Mise en place, okay? If this wasn't ready, I'd be making this and I would go,
Oh my God, my chocolate isn't ready.
and then I have to go chop the chocolate and it's sitting there and the dough is getting all gross and not fun. So we have dark chocolate. You can go as dark as you want. You want 80%, great. This is like around 70 to 75 cacao. That's where it's at. And then milk chocolate of choice. You could also go all milk. You could go all dark. Do whatever your heart desires, but this at least helps the indecisive people like me. Start by breaking up the chocolate just a little bit. This doesn't need to be perfect. Don't overthink it, all right? Hand on top, fingers up. What happens if you do this? You're all lazy, and then there your thumb goes. Now you're in the ER, no cookies. And we're just gonna go over our chocolate, one direction, and then the other direction, right? We're getting there. I'm gonna do it again. One more time. You're gonna run through this just a couple of times. You can make these really thick if you want. Just try to think about the stirring. You know, if it's too big, it's hard to stir. If you toss these together, you have randomized chunks. It's not supposed to be even. You get a little bit of molten chocolate here and a little piece of chocolate here. It diversifies the entire eating experience. You're never gonna be dull eating this cookie. You'll just get sick when you eat 12 of them. Now, at this stage, you have two options. You can go all in. You could just put this in the dough and it's done. If you're worried about coloring the dough, there's all this dust. That's gonna color your dough. It's gonna make it a little darker. It's gonna make it a little chocolatier. If you want that stark, like clear cut, here's the dough, here's the chocolate, put this in a colander or put this in a fine mesh sieve, tap, 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 get the dust out, and you're good. But I like it in there. The common conversation is melted butter makes for a chewier cookie. While that is true, these are so dense. If you do melted butter, they'll fall flat. This is gonna help them maintain their size and shape. So it's important that we cream our butter instead of melting. So that goes in, that goes in, there we go. We've got our electric beater. You can also do this in a stand mixer if you have a stand mixer. It's easier than doing this, but I'm trying to make this accessible, okay? So we're gonna start off very low speed, and we're gonna work this butter a little bit. Just work it. All right, we're gonna speed it up to a medium speed, and we're gonna start incorporating our white sugar, just the white sugar. Add half, speed it up, a little more. And the whole point here is we're incorporating a little bit of air with this. Not just air, but we're helping dissolve the sugar. The sugar's becoming one with the butter. It's not just softened butter anymore. It's softened butter with sugar. By the way, I'm not laughing because I think I'm funny. I'm just laughing because I think I'm stupid. Moving on. Now we're gonna add our brown sugar. So we got a little bit of molasses flavor going on. It's darkening up a little bit. It's seizing more. So I'm slowly incorporating this. Could you add all the brown sugar at once? A lot of people say no. I say you can, it's just really messy. So you cut this off for a second, bring our ingredients down. So you'll notice that the rim of the bowl is gonna start to gather ingredients that aren't incorporated. Stop for a second, bring it back down into the rest of the mixture. Back on, and then the rest of our brown sugar. And we're gonna, oh, that didn't happen. You know this is done once not only all the ingredients are incorporated, but you have sort of a nice, stiff, whipped, creamed butter. It's lighter, it's aerated, you can see the pockets of air. It almost looks like frosting, except it's not. At this stage, we're gonna add our eggs. Do not add them all at once. The eggs are probably cold. The mixture is, well, not. So we have 2 whole eggs that are gonna go in. 1, 2. All right, 2 eggs, and then we have our egg yolk. The egg yolk just adds a little extra fudginess, a little extra richness. If you cut it out, will it still work? Of course, but why would you? Gently crack into a bowl, and we're gonna use our hands to pick up the yolk gently. I'm just gonna go back and forth and let that white fall in between our fingers. Almost there. There we go. And you have a yolk. Beating on high, you're gonna add 1 egg at a time. So our first egg. And then you're gonna beat that until it's completely incorporated. Do not add another ingredient. Just incorporate it and then add your next whole egg. Beat that in. You can see that it starts to break this up. It's kind of starting to want to break the emulsion. That's why you're adding 1 at a time. All right, beat that in. And then finally, we're gonna add our egg yolk. Egg yolk in, incorporate. So now what we're left with is this beautifully dissolved, fluffy, creamed butter. It has all of our liquid ingredients in. It looks beautiful. I forgot to chop pecans. We're gonna do that right now. It's pecans, okay? I don't actually care. I already know what you might be thinking. There's nuts in this cookie. Who puts nuts in a chocolate chip cookie? What? What's wrong with that? You have a problem with it? Call me. Show up. You won't. Look, you can take the nuts out if you don't want them, it's fine. But I like them in here. I think they're fun. They can be raw, they can be toasted. I actually like them raw, funny enough. I think pecans have a really light, sweet taste. I know it's a hot take, but they're nice raw. We're gonna rough chop these as well. So think the same thing with the chocolate, right? Run your knife through one direction, bring them together, and then the other direction. Okay, one more time. Cool, those are done. We have our creamed butter mixture. We have our flour mixture. We have our chocolate. We have our pecans. What's it called? Mise en place, please. You can fold this in. I actually like to beat in half of it and then I'll start folding it just because it makes it a little easier to mix. Let this do some of the work for you. So very low speed. And we're gonna add a quarter of our flour mixture first. Let that incorporate. Then the other quarter. Yeah. Let it mix, let it do the work for you. Bring it around town, shake it around. All right, now we have a dough starting to form. You don't want to let this go too long. It will overbeat the mixture. It will give you a tough cookie, so just stop there. Even if it's not fully incorporated, just stop there. A few seconds. Pop those bad boys off. Damn, those like launched off. You're gonna tap these on the side of the bowl to get this off. That's it, all right? These are for eating later, all right? Nobody else but you deserves this. So rest of our flour in. I like to add it in batches. It just makes it a little easier to stir. Around the bowl. It should look smooth. It should look velvety. What you don't want is you don't want it too sticky. Once it stops sticking to the sides of the bowl, you see how this is kind of pulling away a little bit? It's very doughy. It's like a soft Play-Doh. It's gonna feel tacky, but it's not soupy. So now once we add the chocolate, this is gonna help bring it all together. So we add all of our chocolate. Get that incorporated just a little bit, right? You got a lot of stuff in here. I'm working, okay? I'm a messy boy. Chocolate's incorporated, now we're gonna add our nuts. You can see how solid this is now. That's solid. Okay, fold. The spatula goes under, you pick it up, you fold it over, and you press down. Just rinse and repeat. At this point, we're ready to shape. If your parchment is sliding around the pan, it's really annoying, right? You put the cookies in, the parchment slides. How do you stop that? Before you put it in, a little bit of baking spray on your pan. And obviously this is gonna prevent this from sticking when it bakes, but also it suctions onto your baking tray. Look at that. Now this is not going anywhere. See that? Isn't that nice? Get your station set up, you know? Boom, Boom, boom. Cookie scoop for accurate scooping. What do we think? Is this 200 grams? And this should make about, give or take, 8 cookies. At 200 to 230 grams each, you're looking at anywhere between 6 to 8 cookies. These are weighed out. And all you're gonna do, remember, they're baseball cookies, okay? The reason why I do this is I'm closing all the air pockets that are in there. You can even see that there's a little aeration going on. So when I scoop this as it is, there's a ton of air. You want to collapse the air pockets. If you don't collapse the air pockets, whenever the baking soda activates, it's gonna get too light, it's gonna get too crumbly. You want it dense, you want it solidified. We have our tray of 2, okay? This is 2. What would 4 look like? Now you'll notice I don't form these yet. Just for the sake of speed, I get the rough shape going, and then we'll form them. All right, so these are our 2 options. To the oven we go. Okay, so we're done. You gotta let these cool completely before you eat them. I know you might be tempted to eat them while they're piping hot. The cooling process is crucial to finishing the cook, okay? I want all those starches to kind of gelatinize and rest. But also, we leave it on the baking sheet to cool so that the heat comes up and finishes the cooking process. This is a dense cookie. We're trying to balance 2 things, not overcooking and intentionally undercooking. I want a little bit of a raw inside. That's good. So now, unfortunately, we wait for 15-ish minutes roughly. It also depends on the temperature of your room. If you're an ice box, maybe it's faster. I get to eat this now, and you have to watch. That sucks for you. But you could make it if you had my book, Texture Over Taste. That's PR, but also it's true. This book is about experiences. Obviously, flavor and taste is important. I care about those things. They are the majority of the conversation. And I'm trying to talk about something that isn't, which is texture. That's what makes foods great. And that's how you're gonna take your cooking to the next level, is by paying attention to that. A couple of things about this cookie. First off, the underside, a rich, golden, crisp toffee brown. I mean, there's gonna be a little bit of crunch. It's a little craggly, it's big, it's chunky, it looks beautiful. And when you crack it open, look at this. Here, you want me to do it again for camera? This is an experience. This means something. I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna eat it. I just wanna look at it for a second. Cheers. This blows any commercial cookie out of the water. You will never, let me finish chewing, sorry, my mom might be watching. You'll never have a commercial cookie this good. It gives everybody something that they want. There's a crisp, crunchy exterior, but then there's this soft, dense, fudgy interior. Yes, the flavors are good, but this isn't gonna taste terribly different from any other cookie you ever have. It's such an experience, and it wouldn't be that without the texture. Now that you've watched this, don't forget to check out The Cookie for One by Max Nelson. It's right here, or maybe it's here. Where is it here? Is it here? Go watch it, don't you? All right, okay. Bye-bye, love ya.